Okay, so around 11 months ago, I made the full switch from console to PC. I never had any mechanical skill and never touched an MNK before. Something I always thought of was a stereotype that basically console players are PC silvers. So I wanted to test that theory of, since I was console champion, Xbox champion, if you want to see my Xbox gameplay, there should be a link down in the description. It will be my top link, and here's also like my R6 tab before I sold my account. So in this video, I want to basically break down all the things that I noticed the difference between being a Xbox champion compared to a PC diamond. Now, this video idea was inspired by Royal Penguinxx, my homie. He did a video where basically he compared Xbox Diamond to PC Diamond since he did it on controller. His link will also be down in the description. Huge inspiration. Go check my man out. Let's get right into the video. Now, first, let's break down IQ. Now, on Xbox, I was a console controller champion. When I switched over to PC my first season, I got plat 1. I had a .9, but it's not like I got carried. A lot of those games I was duo, trio queuing, but I'm not even going to blame it on that. I'm going to blame it on solely my mechanics being awful, completely awful. In the background, you're probably going to see my first ever Aces sledge. It's completely disgusting. But IQ was something that really let me stay into higher elo and didn't keep me being from a silver and gold player. If I didn't have any understanding of the game, I think I would have honestly been like a gold at most. I feel like a lot of lower ranked PC players have this misconception of thinking all console players are stupid basically, and that if they came to PC they'd be the worst players ever, and that's really not the case. There's been tons and tons and tons of console players that switched over that just smoked everybody. So I think IQ is a huge thing that really helped me switching over. But when looking at the IQ factor, comparing it to PC and Xbox, I would definitely say it takes more skill on PC and you need more IQ. I would definitely say PC is more based on team coordination and team communication, and Xbox is more a little bit like laid back, you vibe until you get into like deep champion. I'm noticing like when you're in champion on Xbox, everybody is going like really hard. They want to win. They're playing with the team. The communications in there. But when you get into the lower elo, like for example, maybe plat 2, plat 1, people really don't care on console. They just kind of do their own thing. They run around like golds and they play stupid. Comparing that to PC, I was noticing this effort even in plat 3. Kids really cared about their rank and they actually played a lot smarter. Next, I want to talk about mechanics. Console players are very limited when it comes to mechanics because they're on controller. For the legitimate people, they're on controller. And when you think about good mechanical players, basically what I think about when it comes to console is someone that has good aim, good recoil control, good crosshair placement, all of that. Your movement is very limited on console, like I said, for a lot of reasons. One, you can't un-ADS without aiming. That's a huge, stupid part. But comparing that to PC players, I feel like PC once again has the upper hand when it comes to quote-unquote skill, because it's a lot harder because you do have to build up muscle memory, you have to find a sensitivity, you have to understand the science behind using an MNK, and for someone like me, I find it's a lot harder because still 10 months in, I'm still looking like a bot sometimes, and that's either a resource of me like dealing with like anxiety or me just overthinking simple stuff and just not playing the game. But mechanically, it's a grind to actually get better and understand M&K. Like, you look at my first ever ace and you even look at me now, you'll see a drastic improvement, but it's not the improvement that I want to see. I feel like it was a lot easier to grasp controller, even though it is a lot more inconsistent than a M&K because you are on stick, so once again, you are limited. But just what I see from a lot of console players is they don't truly understand their sensitivity. They constantly switch their sensitivity and they will never be consistent. On M&K, it's building the same muscle memory, but it's still hard just understanding like keyboard if you never touched it before. Hence why I'm 10 months in and I'm still like, what the hell am I doing type of thing. Next is communication. Now, I think this is one of the most drastic differences from console to PC. I was almost shell-shocked when I switched over and I realized that I wasn't communicating enough. Even though like I had IQ and I understood the game, I just wasn't communicating enough. Because on console, a lot of times it's more like run and gun, and then you get some games where it's like really sweaty and you're communicating. But I feel like even with Z-pings being added into the game, like communication is so much more important than it once was. For example, the beauty of learning how to play off your teammates and just giving simple communication to your teammates is something that I never did on Xbox, and it's something, to be honest, I didn't have to do. On PC, there's a lot of times where players are actually all playing together. When you get into Plat 3 and Plat 2 and you keep getting higher and higher and higher, everybody is playing off of each other. You'll notice refrags is a huge thing. The communication is unbelievable because people actually, for example, call out what they're watching, if they're holding a cross angle, if, for example, like I said, if they need a refrag, all of that. Another big thing was unique callouts. Players on console, from what I noticed, we knew unique callouts, but we didn't like specify every unique callout. Like you had the default unique callouts, for example, like Heaven, Bitch Corner, all of that, but you didn't have to go in depth with all of this stuff to win ranked games on Xbox. When I'm on PC now, it's like you actually need to sweat your ass off and give all the communication to your teammates, or if you get teammates that just don't want to communicate, you're losing the game because the other team is either 5-manning and they're playing together, which the game is supposed to be played this way. Last but not least is utility usage. Now, what I mean by utility usage is the utility that the operator brings, whether that's stun grenades, their main ability, whether that's ace charge, ass charges, Sophia charges, whatever. Even playing vertical with a Buck's shotgun or Sledge's sledge. Something I noticed hugely when I was on console is players don't use vertical play enough. For example, even at Plat 2 Elo, and when I switched over to PC and I was doing my placements, even in Gold Elo, people were so focused on utility usage. So right away, I would just say the main difference between the two is that when you're on console, you have to wait till you're in higher Elo for people to actually just generally play off of each other and focus their gameplay more utility rather than it being a TDM. PC, you see this starting to take an impact in like high gold, and players start to realize that you need to play off each other to actually win more games. In conclusion, I think PC is harder to grasp, and it is the harder platform to play on. It's definitely a big slap in the face if you never played the Siege seriously and never played in a coordinated, communication-based gameplay. But I feel like a lot of console players would definitely thrive on PC, especially if you're on controller, because when you're on controller, you have to face a lot of cheaters, which are people that use Zim, and most of the time the only way to combat that is to play off your teammates and, you know, understand utility usage and just basic communication. So going forward, like, my opinion for console players, I definitely have a lot of respect for them because I came from that platform, I played on it, I faced cheaters, and I got the experience of like getting better and better as a controller player and then swapping over and learning a whole different mechanic, which is mouse and keyboard. So for any of you controller players that's really questioning if you should switch over and to see like if you would be all of a sudden a silver if you were champ, that's not the case. You would definitely 100% thrive on PC if you just, you know, go back to your roots, understand the premise of the game, and play off of your teammates. But besides that, this was the video. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts and opinions were. If you think I said something that was incorrect in your opinion, that's totally okay. But this was Garfield as Doc. Thank you so much for watching the video. One love.